What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to FoxtrotTalks. I'm your host, Foxtrot, and today I wanted to talk about some common phrases that you may have heard and what their origins are. So the first term that you've probably heard before is bite the bullet, which, as you probably know, it typically means to kind of buckle down and get to work at something. What you might not know is that it comes from times of battle, when if a soldier was hurt on the battlefield, a doctor wouldn't have time to administer anesthesia or a pain reliever. So what they would ask the soldiers to do is to bite on a bullet to try and numb the pain of when the soldier is being operated on the battlefield. So you can imagine that'd be pretty rough. So another common saying that you probably heard is to butter somebody up, which you probably know means to flatter somebody. Now this saying came from an ancient Indian custom where they would throw balls of clarified butter at statues to try and gain their favor. Now that's really apt use of it nowadays too, because when you butter somebody up, you're usually trying to get something from them. So the next saying, as you probably heard before, is cat got your tongue. Now everybody knows this to mean when somebody is at a loss for words. Now what people don't usually know is that it comes from one of two potential places. The first being the English Navy, where they would flog people using a whip known as a cat o' nine, which is just a multi-tailed whip, and this would hurt so much that the victims would often not be able to speak. Therefore, you say that a cat got their tongue. The other origin of this one comes from ancient Egypt, where liars and blasphemers would have their tongues cut out and fed to cats, which is a much more literal meaning of cat got your tongue. So the next saying that you probably heard before is to be caught red-handed, which of course means to be caught in the act of doing something. Now this saying comes from back in the day, where if you butchered an animal that wasn't yours, you'd have to be caught with the animal's blood on your hands in order to be convicted. Now that kind of makes sense, except I don't really know how they would know that the red on your hands was from that animal in particular and not just maybe one of your own animals or something else. I don't know, but that's how they did it back then. So the next common saying that you probably heard before is to go the whole 9 yards, which means to try one's best. Now this came from back in World War II, where fighter pilots were given 9 yards of ammunition. So if those pilots were to use all 9 yards of ammunition on one target, they were said to have given them the whole 9 yards. In other words, everything they've got. So the next common saying we have is to be saved by the bell, which of course means to be saved from some unwanted situation. Now this one has kind of a darker origin to it. It comes from back in the day where people getting buried before they were dead was pretty common. So what people would do is that they would buy special coffins that had a string attached to a bell above the ground, so in case that they were buried when they shouldn't have been, they could just ring the bell and the graveyard staff could go and dig them up and rescue them. Now, if I were alive back then, I would definitely invest in one of these because that would be an awful way to go. So our last saying is to spill the beans, which of course means to reveal a secret. Now, this saying originates all the way back from ancient Greece, where if they were nominating somebody or voting for something, they would use beans, of which there were two colors. There were white ones and black ones, which signified a vote for or against a nominee. So of course these votes were all very confidential, but occasionally a clumsy voter would spill the bean bag, thereby revealing the bag's contents and everybody's votes to the world. So he very literally spilled the beans. Okay guys and girls, that's it for this episode. Let me know down in the comments another common phrase and its origin. And as always, please comment and like on the video for more videos in the future. Thanks so much for watching, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode.